The board will now reconvene in open session. The time is 6:34. We thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. At this time, we would respectfully ask you to turn off the sound of your cell phones. And may I remind anyone wishing to address the board to have your completed public comment card before the start of the public portion of tonight's meeting. As your Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals for the district, listen to reports presented by the superintendent and his designees, approve and review the budget, approve certain personnel appointments and contracts, and make policy for the district. Management is the responsibility of the superintendent, and it is the board's responsibility to govern the affairs of the district and ensure that the district is moving forward in meeting the vision in meeting the vision and the goals of the district. Meeting times for the board meetings are posted on the AISD website, AbileneISD.org. The public is invited to attend. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Jay Ashby, our Executive Director of Innovation and Program Development, to lead the invocation and our pledges. We are happy you're here tonight, and thank you for spending this time with us this week.
Heavenly Father, we are here with grateful hearts for the opportunity to serve our community, and with heavy hearts for those in Central Texas who are facing unimaginable loss. In the wake of the recent flooding, we lift up the families who are grieving. Please surround them with comfort, strength, and the support they need in the days ahead. We ask for your guidance over this meeting. Grant us wisdom in our decisions and help us to lead with empathy and courage as we work on behalf of the students and families that we serve. In your name we pray. Amen. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Now we'll move to item 4C, Board Superintendent Announcements. Dr. Kuhn, what do you have for us tonight?
I do have a couple of announcements. First of all, I want to thank Jay for mentioning the flooding in Central Texas. We do have some Abilene families affected by that. The Brake family and the Brazil families have loved ones that are involved in that. So please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Also wanted to mention to the board, just as an information item, you may have seen the headlines recently about a hold on some of the federal education funds, and I just wanted to let you guys know, not sure how that's going to turn out, but we have evaluated possible impact on Abilene ISD, and we are estimating about $1 million that we would have expected to receive in various federal funds that will be held back. I don't know that a final decision has been made on that, so I just wanted to give you that number for you to have. Definitely want to give a quick shout out to some individuals that work for Abilene ISD from our purchasing department, our textbook team, and our curriculum instruction department. I got to go over today to a campus where, I don't know, like 100 pallets of, sorry about that, I forgot to turn on my microphone. There were about 100 pallets of textbooks that were being gone through to organize those. They were shipped kind of in a mixed bag. And it was a large group of people working very, very hard today. They'll be working hard on it again tomorrow to make sure the right textbooks get to the right campuses. So definitely want to recognize them. Also, quick reminder, board, July the 11th. I'm sorry, the board doesn't need to attend this. Angie and I, Ms. Wiley and I will be attending a meeting, an initial meeting to plan our board pathways training that you guys are aware of. So hopefully after that initial meeting, we'll get some information about dates and times of those meetings for the entire board. A couple other important dates, July 29th and 30th, we have our administrator retreat, and July 31st is our new teacher orientation. And the last thing I'd like to share with you, I actually want to read from an email that we received. I got the email forwarded to me from Deputy Superintendent Dr. Joe Waldron, and this is what Dr. Waldron said. As a part of the regular evaluation process with those who report to me, I have a process with each person to develop goals. This year, one of the goals that Candace, and Candace, as you know, is in charge of our food and nutrition department, one of the goals that she set for the student nutrition department was to work with a team to help the Texas Department of Agriculture develop a comprehensive procurement training for all school districts in Texas. It appears from the procurement class given at Region 20, the effort from Candace and her team was a big success. Below is an email from the TDA representative, Sarah Martin, highlighting this achievement and again putting Abilene on the statewide map of educators leading the way. So I'm going to read the email from the Texas Department of Agriculture. This is from Sarah Martin, who's their training and development specialist. She said, "Happy Friday from F&N Training. This email is overdue, but I wanted to reach out and share thanks for all the amazing work and contributions your team provided for the annual procurement training course. After extensive review by multiple Texas Department of Agriculture departments, the final course material was sent to the ESC specialists in mid-May, and I was able to attend this course at Region 20 this week. The course was well received by Region 20 participants, and I not only observed quality discussions following the application activities, but also the sharing of best practices by multiple districts. I'm confident that regardless of the amount of procurement experience participants brought into this course, they were able to walk away with increased understanding and quality takeaways. I look forward to the survey feedback we'll receive. I am beyond grateful for the time, effort, and quality contributions your team provided. Kudos to you all." So big resounding congratulations to Candace and her team for doing that for the state.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you for that. Item 5 is recognitions. We will be hearing from Mr. Clay Johnson. He is our Executive Director for Fine Arts.
Good evening, Dr. Kuhn, President Wiley, members of the board. Abilene ISD was very well represented at the UIL State Solo and Ensemble Contest held on May 25th in Austin. Abilene ISD band, choir, and orchestras came home with 18 gold medals, 22 silver solo medals, and 27 gold ensemble medals. Approximately 20,000 students participated at multiple sites in the Austin area, including the University of Texas, during Memorial Day weekend. Of those competing, roughly 5% earned a Division I and a gold medal. Of that 5%, solo judges award the top 1% with a state championship medal representing the outstanding performer designation as one of the most elite musicians in the entire state at this contest. This year, Abilene ISD is proud to bring 2 students before you who earned this state championship honor. Max Frick, a freshman percussion student at Cooper High School, received the Outstanding Performer distinction for his performance of Gitano. Max studies privately with Dr. Johnny Mendoza at McMurray University. Isaiah Jaramillo, a baritone vocalist and recent graduate from Abilene High School, earned an Outstanding Performer award for his performance of La Violeta. Isaiah will be attending Abilene Christian University in the fall on a music scholarship, where he will continue studying privately with his voice teacher, Dr. Rick Pearsall. The directors of the Cooper Band are under the direction of John Landine, Jessica Fox, and Patrick Stevenson. The directors for the Abilene High Choir are Wendy Weeks and Ramel Derrick. Please join me in congratulating these students for this state championship honor.
You guys come on up to the front and we'll take a picture.
We're doing everybody in one? Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, Lois? Okay.
State champs.
Great job. There we go. Miss Earls, can I get you to take a step just to the right a little bit? There we go. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more for good measure. Thank you, guys.
Let's hear it for these state champions.
Yay. Fantastic. Thank y'all for coming tonight, in the middle of summer. Now moving to item 6, oral communication from the public. The board encourages comments about the district from members in the public. Anyone wishing to address the board must have completed a public comment card before the start of the public portion of tonight's meeting, indicating the item or topic about which they wish to speak. I don't believe we have any cards tonight, so we're going to move into our consent agenda, which is item 7. The AISD Board of Trustees meetings are preceded by in-depth board workshops. We hold these prior to our regular meetings. The purpose of the workshop meeting is to discuss items in preparation for potential consideration at future board meetings. Does the board member need to take anything off of the consent agenda for discussion? Therefore, since not, do I have a motion regarding the items on the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Rodney Goodman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Bill Enriquez?
I yield the floor.
Enriquez.
You're good.
Peach Poke. And now we'll take a roll call vote. Blair Schrader?
Yes.
Danny Wheat, absent. Rodney Goodman?
Yes.
Bill Enriquez?
Yes.
Taylor Tidmore?
Yes.
Cindy Earls?
Yes.
Angie Wiley, yes. The motion passes 6-0. Now, we're going to move on to item 8, public hearing, our public hearing on Every Student Succeed Act. Coming up is Miss Marshall,
Yes, ma'am.
our,
Direct-
hang on, I've got your title. Where is it? I want to say it right. Maybe I don't have your title. Would you tell us your new title?
Director of Federal Programs.
Okay, great,
Okay.
thank you.
So, with ESSA, ESSA is the nation's main education law for public schools. It's equal access for quality instruction. Oh, I gotta do the thing, sorry.
And I'm gonna
First-
open the public session.
Okay.
We'll call it 6:45.
So, sorry about that.
No,
Getting-
it's out of an ordinary thing here, so.
That's okay. It gives states considerable input, basically for educationally disadvantaged and struggling students. It expects students to, okay, I need to start over. Expects schools to invite input from stakeholders and provides funding to targeted identified needs. The scope, here's the scope for ESSA. There is a big emphasis this year on transparency and parent engagement, so that will be the biggest emphasis, I think, too, with all the funding it provides for us. This is our projected funding, and you can see the different amounts. I will, like Dr. Kuhn said, some of those are under review for us right now, so that will take a little bit off if that happens. Basically, we plan based on our goals for the school district, and I know Mr. Ashby's going to be talking to you later about the district improvement plan, but this is our goal. By the end of the 2028-29 school year, 75% of students in Abilene ISD will be in A or B seats, and then our performance objectives are listed below. And then every campus writes their plan based on those. So here's our program summary based on the needs that we saw from district and campuses. Supplementary staffing, a big portion of that is content-based instructional coaches for elementary. And then supplies, technology, supplementary services for those English learners. Opportunities for family engagement, and increased communication with families. And with that increased communication with families, there will be requirements for a lot of training for families too, based on what they're saying their needs are. So, any input or questions?
Maybe go back a couple of slides where all of the titled funds are listed. And we'll look at that while we ask our
Okay.
questions. I think it's important to understand that for people, the financing of schools, this is the federal part.
This is the
correct?
federal part. This
Right,
is all
and
the-
it's not helping us pay the light bill, it's not helping us run a bus, it's definitely designated funds.
Right. So, and the ones are under review. I don't know if Dr. Kuhn went over that with you before. Title I, Part C, Title II, Title III, and Title IV. Those are under review right now. So basically, it's anything supplementary, anything that adds on to what we have. So, any other questions?
Okay, let's,
Ask for public comment?
we do. Thank you. The public hearing has been open. We've heard from Ms. Shannon Marshall, our Director of Federal Programs. Does that leave the public with any questions for her?
I know.
Well, hearing none, we're going to close the public hearing, and the time is 6:49. Thank you, Ms. Marshall.
Thank you for that presentation.
It is a requirement that we go through with our federal funds, receiving federal funds, so thank you for that. We'll now move on to item 9, reports. Item 9A is our Head Start Early Head Start Self-Assessment Survey and Improvement Plan. Coming forward is Ms. Julie Wilson, our Director of Early Childhood. Welcome.
Thank you. How are y'all tonight? Thank
Good.
you for having me here. I'm going to talk to you also about federal program. This is our Head Start federal program that we receive funding for. So what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is very much similar to what Mr. Ashby is going to talk about, but this is the Head Start side. So it will reflect each other. We try to do as much blended as we can to make it seamless across the board. So our first part is just talking about the self-assessment process. It's a cyclical process, and it is something that we are doing all the time. Each day we're looking at what can we do better here and here and here. But from the months about February to May, we do a formal self-assessment process where we're interviewing parents, community members. We're talking to our policy council. We are talking to staff. We're sending out surveys about communication, things like that. We're really gathering good data. We're also looking at our student data. We're looking at our 2 audits that we had this year, so we got some formal official data from that, and so we're going to get to celebrate some of that here in just a minute, and then we'll talk about what we're going to continue to do to make our program even better. When I talk to our staff about this, we are always compliant. However, the words I like to say are we're reflecting and refining our practices all the time. So that's what you're going to get to see here in just a minute. So to start out, we always start with our program goals, and these you guys get updated as we update them periodically through the year, and so I always send those out in a board doc. So here's just our board, our Head Start program goals. They really align with our our district strategic plans and priorities. They're just written to mirror our federal expectations. So, for example, the first one is about quality comprehensive services, and it's talking about our Head Start early learning outcomes. That is what Texas would call your TEKS, but Head Start has their own version of that. They are very similar. And we talk about creating a positive classroom environment and engaging our community to be sure that we are providing the services that they need to be able to get their families school ready. So we also use our community needs assessment for that. And then we want to be sure that we're integrating technology appropriately. A lot of this that we use with the littles is our safety practices that the district supports us on. We want to be sure that it's appropriate for families to engage our families, and then academic success. The last one that I believe is the most important one that drives all of our other goals is recruiting highly effective staff, but also retaining highly effective staff. So if we don't have those people in place, we cannot meet our other goals. And so that one's a really important one, I believe, for us. So if you'll look at the next part, this is the part we get to celebrate for just a minute. And these are our Head Start program strengths. So like I said, we got some really good feedback in all of our audits this year. We are compliant in all areas. And I wanted to put this one first because it was considered a strong practice in our focus area 2, and thank you to Ms. Earls who came and talked to the lady for a while. They said they never see strong practices. Our program specialist said, wow, you guys had a strong practice. So it was about our partnership with AISD and how we have a good shared governance program. So thank you all. That was a part of y'all too. So we got a strong practice, so we're really proud of that. Also, the program design is responsive to community needs. They also reflected that for us, and that's, again, we're using our community needs assessment to make sure we are doing exactly what our kiddos need and what the community is needing as well. Then our instructional support, this is from our class audit. Class measures all the interactions between adult and child within the school day. It's about a 45-minute measure where all every interaction between the adult and the children is being measured. And so we are really proud of our instructional support. It was above the quality threshold for the nation. So we're really proud of that. And you'll see here when we talk about our improvement plan, that is what we've been focusing on with our Tier 1 practice-based coaching. So we're very thankful that we were 0.8 points above which is a lot in class when it's a 1 to 7 score. 0.01 is huge, so it's a really big deal. We were really proud of that. And that, I believe, also leads over to our school readiness skills. That is where we're pushing language. We're working on deeper understandings, and so that one is a really big one for us. The other one is just engaging families through our collaborative partnerships with the district, with the community resources that we have, and making sure that those families trust us so that we can get them what they need to be successful. The other one is establishes transparent data-informed processes in our fiscal program. That also goes back to AISD and the partnership that we have with AISD. So we're very thankful for the procurement processes that we have here. So those are our strengths, but we also know we're glad to celebrate those. We also have ways that we need to continuously improve. So if you'll see there, the first one is talking about the practice-based coaching, but we're switching our gear to the other two domains of the class audit, which is emotional support and classroom organization. So we scored well on those, but that's just one area we want to nudge over on that quality threshold. Then we want to provide developmentally appropriate professional learning to foster individualized leadership. That is for staff and students. We want to be sure that we're allowing our teachers to be leaders and we're teaching our students how to be leaders. So that encompasses our entire campus. The next one is just creating a culture of wellness. This is talking about our families, our students, and our staff's mental health wellness, as well as our culture and morale around our campus. The other piece of that is we want to provide that place for them, but we also expect them to do their very best and give us excellence. And then the last one is just to continue to build connections with our families and the community so we can get them, like I said, what they need to be successful because they're our foundation. So that is what I have for you today. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, thank you. I
do know
apologize. I
that
was a little
within the beginning and the end of a report like that, there's a lot of work that goes in the middle.
Yes.
So we do thank you for that.
Yeah,
and
well, thank y'all.
for making it a possibility for our board to participate in such a quality program.
Well, we appreciate y'all very much. So have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your leadership, Ms. Wilson.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Ricky Wallace for item 9B will be updating us on our facilities department. He is our director of facilities. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Abilene ISD Board of Trustees, Dr. Kuhn. Really want to thank y'all for giving me this opportunity to let you know about our facilities department, really from our perspective too, what we're about. And I'm going to sum it up, divide it up into 3 areas, really the why, the what, and the how. So in other words, the why is the why we do what we do. The what is what is in our way. What do we have to get done? And the how is how we get it done. How are those good people there to help us get it done? So on to the first slide here. Why we do what we do. It's the students, 100% all day long. No question about that. And these are AISD students, by the way. If you recognize somebody there, you're right. Secondly, to the what that's in front of us, that is a picture of the city of Abilene that hangs in my office that has icons representative of each site that we have in the school district as a constant reminder of what we have to cover, a total of 43 sites. 25 of these are campuses. Total AISD square footage, a little over 7.4 million square feet. Building footprint square footage, a little over 3.2 million square feet. 659 acres to maintain. From July 1st of last year to the end of June of this year, we had, 11,600 work orders to digest and to take care of. So quite a bit to cover. And then finally, to get to the next slide of the how, and I need to put a disclaimer in here for each slide that you see. It's going to be about each respective department in our facilities group. the descriptors that are on there are not all-inclusive because there's quite a bit to tell about what they do. So what we tried to do is home in or zero in on a more student-centered description of what they do in each group. So let's go with that and look at our first one. It's our electrical department. And I'd like, if y'all give me the time, I want to name every one in each department. So we'll start with Joanna Townsley. Our supervisor, David Segal, is the lead. EJ Quintanilla and Zach McFerrin round out that department. And these are just some of the items. Again, they make sure that the lighting concerns are put in place regarding recommended light levels and uniformity. They don't just throw anything up there. They ensure that the emergency lighting is functioning properly. They have to make sure that the power is sufficient for kitchen equipment and for the HVAC and mechanical equipment. They give safety recommendations on power strips, extension cords, and make sure the circuits are not overloaded. All right, our general facilities and groundskeeping department, those are two different ones that work well together, really to assist each other when needed. Daniel Limon is our supervisor in that department. Keith Conway is the lead in the general facilities department. Nick Solis is the lead for the groundskeeping department. And then we have Jose Escamilla, Nathan Kohler, Nick Martinez, Mike Murillo, Eli Ochoa, Randy Sparks, John Tonchi, Ruben Valdez, Toby Tonchi, Corey Rodriguez, Reagan Smith, Ernesto Vargas, Renee Pedrosa, and John Childs, whom you've probably seen out at Shotwell some evening. He's the one that takes care of that area and does a good job there. They have the dubious job of making sure that our overall curb appeal is up to standards. So it is a big job. That includes trash, debris, anything else that's out there. With regard to safety, all pesticide and herbicide work orders are handled in this department. Any exterior gates that are malfunctioning, we make sure those are taken care of. Any slip, trip, or fall hazards are identified and we get those corrected. All playground equipment should be safe and functional. If it's not, we make sure that it is. And we ensure that handrails are not damaged or unsecure. Our building shop, Juan Zertuche is our supervisor in that department. And the rest of that group is Raymond Aguirre, Scott Baber, Felipe Herrera, Clay Jowers, George Perez, Steve Pinnock, and Josh Ramish. Very important, all these are important, but to highlight an area there's a locksmith on staff, that's Scott Baber. Felipe Herrera is really our locksmith in waiting. Another item that's not on this list that I need to mention, that all safety and security items related to interior and exterior doors are handled through this department. So that should be on there. They also replace missing, damaged ceiling tiles, handle all millwork and cabinetry, minor flooring replacement, IAQ, which is indoor air quality concerns. Those are addressed and taken care of in that department. Roof repair and gutter clean out. Paint shop. Shane Christie is the supervisor, Francisco Soto is the lead, and then Will Harris finishes out that large group there. Anytime you've seen any colorful words in our school buildings, they do a great job of quickly getting those covered up or erased, power washed off, and then they do a phenomenal job making sure the classrooms and hallways are painted up to professional grade. Plumbing shop, we have Nate Shelbourne as the supervisor, Bryant Snyder is the lead, Ismael Garcia, Steve Garcia, Freddie Barra, and Mike Reeder make out the rest of that department. There are a total of 5 journeyman plumbers in that list of names there. Their job is to make sure that water is flowing in the right places, of course, and that solid waste is flowing and being disposed of appropriately and to their appropriate places. They handle the biannual gas testing. Really, their job is to keep plumbing out of sight. And they're also the first responders to gas smells. Our HVAC shop has Patrick South as the supervisor, Pete Escobedo is the lead, Gilbert Delgado, Sean Sneed, Bryce Martinez, and Eric Escobedo round out that shop. They have a lot of responsibilities, but the main one for the students and the staff, I would say, is to ensure that spaces are conditioned to achieve optimal comfort level. A fancy way of saying they got to make sure it's comfortable for the students and the staff. So that's their job. The ASHRAE standards are met for ventilation. That means the number of filter exchanges a year. Also, the MERV rating of those filters is met per ASHRAE standard. The supply and return cycling recommendation is met as well. They clean the coils. They make sure that the airflow and or the mechanical equipment is kept to a minimal level of noise. And they make sure our ice is clean in our ice makers. Energy management, that's Todd Wisenhunt there. He's been manning that, I would say, at least 8 to 9 years. Does a great job, performs daily energy audits, schedules the HVAC equipment, and continues to do a great job of helping the Abilene ISD save on their utility costs. In custodial services, an entirely different department that also falls underneath facilities, and that is Micah Clay is the facilities services coordinator over custodial. Kayla Taylor is the secretary. Mark Cortez, Juan Lozano, and Isaac Ramirez are the area supervisors. Responsible management of supplies and ensuring they're readily available at all of our sites is key for them, and they make sure to keep the surfaces sanitary, handle daily removal of trash inside, and handle the trash outside of the building as well. Disinfecting high-touch areas. This may not be well known to most people, but they also send out a team of responders to assist our facilities when there are emergencies. Water running down a hallway, clean up, do a great job of that as well. And they assist with the logistical setup of tables, chairs for extracurricular and special events. And then finally, the administrative area is Brian Mankey, the facilities maintenance coordinator, Christina Dello, Tamara Rotten, David Rotten, and myself, Ricky Wallace. We handle maintain the inventory, manage work orders, and the people, they report to us. The PM database, enter and receive requisitions, maintain the safety data sheets for AISD, issue materials for the needed work orders, and receive PO confirmations from the purchasing department. Any questions for me?
Appreciate you recognizing your people. I think that's a great presentation. Thank you, Ricky.
Yes,
A
sir.
lot of hands and feet doing the work around the campuses.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace, Coach Wallace. Next, item 9C, District Campus and Improvement Plans. Welcome back, Mr. Jay Ashby, Executive Director of Innovation and Program Development. Thank you for being here tonight.
Hello again. I'm going to be talking about something that was already referenced by a couple of our presenters, the district and campus improvement plans. And so this is a presentation that the board hears every year. And so I'm gonna, it probably sounds familiar, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about the changes that have been made this year, that are a continuation of some of the changes that occurred last year, and why we did those. So just a review of this plan and how it is developed. There's needs assessments in the spring that involves both district staff, campus staff, and community members. That leads to data review and drafting of objectives, and we are heading into the phase for approval. So this is an example of the structure of a campus and district improvement plan. It starts with goals at the top, and then there's performance objectives and then strategies to achieve those performance objectives with the end goal in mind. So a review of last year based on feedback during the 23-24 school year. Changes were made to make the last year's campus improvement plan and district improvement plan process more streamlined for campuses. And so last year's district improvement plan ended up with 4 goals, 14 performance objectives, and 35 strategies. So based off of some conversations that happened before I moved into this role and after, and some feedback from principals, specifically during a process of supporting principals in their targeted improvement plan, and the requirements that are required by the state for that and the federal government, that led to us wanting to make this process even more streamlined for campus principals. So this is a overview of the numbers of things that are items in this plan. There's last year's district improvement plan and the current one, which is now at 1 goal, 3 performance objectives, and 3 strategies. I'm going to tell you about those right now and kind of the reasoning behind that. So why the shift? District and campus improvement plans are not required to be all-encompassing documents. That's kind of what has been happening over the years. As new principals move in, it's just adding to last year's, and it becomes a very large document that's becomes harder to use as a tool, right? Ideally, they are tools for progress monitoring that provide value to the principal and the campuses, primarily in the goal setting and then a way to monitor the achievement of those goals. And so we want them to be easily used by principals because we know that there's a lot that goes into being a campus principal, and tools that are efficient and simple to use are valuable. In addition to that, according to the Effective Schools Framework, effective improvement plans should do 3 things: identify a limited number of focused priorities that address the root cause of low performance, include clear timelines, milestones, metrics, and designated task owners, and then be regularly monitored by campus leaders. So that first bullet, identify a limited number of focused priorities. So when you see that shift from more goals and performance objectives to less, that's actually the intended purpose according to Effective Schools Framework. So here's our structure. One goal that I'm going to share here shortly that won't surprise you. 3 performance objectives and 3 strategies, in addition to the comprehensive needs assessment that's a part of all district improvement plans and some of the required components for special programs and services, many of them that you heard about earlier this evening. So imagine that. Our district improvement plan goal is our North Star goal, right? And by the end of the 28-29 school year, 75% of students in AISD will be in A or B seats. It makes a whole lot of sense that our district improvement plan would align with that North Star goal. And that is, I think, what is a good explanation of what is driving our performance objectives that were referenced earlier by Shannon. And that's what these 3 things are, right? So we have 3 performance objectives: strengthening Tier 1 ELA instruction, with the goal this year of meeting or surpassing the state approaches average on at least 4 of the 8 ELA assessments for STAR. The strategy for that is to implement high-quality instructional materials with fidelity across all grade levels by providing aligned professional learning, collaborative planning, and targeted instructional support systems. As a campus principal, seeing those 3 things, that's kind of big categories of how you achieve improved instruction, right, and improved results on the STAR. That is mirrored at the Performance Objective 2 for our math instruction, same strategy as well. And Performance Objective 3 is AISD will strengthen college and career readiness programming and processes to ensure at least 80% of the class of 2026 graduates successfully meet CCMR criteria. So all of those things those benchmarks are goals for this year, right? Eventually we want those all to be 100%, 100% CCMR, 100% beating the state average. But to make progress in a year, that's the bar we've set, which is a high bar. But I do think that we can obtain that. So when thinking about this kind of very high-level strategy and what that means for campus principals and campuses, this is the district's improvement plan. Campuses have already, and you can see that in the link in your board doc, have already begun to put in specific strategies that are relevant to that are specific to their campuses that align with these performance objectives and strategies. So this sets the table for the district and for campuses to say, this is our focus for this plan and what we are most focused on measuring, but here are the strategies on my campus based off my students' academic performance data on where I need to set the bar for myself and how I'm going to achieve it.
But everyone has the same performance objectives.
Yes.
But different strategies.
They can use those strategies, they can add strategies, and you'll see that many campuses have already begun to do that. They can also add performance objectives if there's something that, there's still a lot of autonomy for campus principals. A lot of this change is giving principals permission to not feel like they have to demonstrate every aspect of what it takes to lead and improve a campus in your campus improvement plan and make it more of a focus tool on the thing that is most important. These documents, just a reminder, are living documents. You will see updates, especially at the campus level in August when all principals are back on contract and they're receiving some support and data analysis to help add and formulate their plans even further.
I think this is a game changer of a document, and I appreciate the thought that's gone into it, and I appreciate the focus on what really matters, which is that North Star goal. I also think the performance objectives are spot on. Of course, I love the goal of let's beat the state, I spent a lot of my career being part of groups that put together campus plans or district plans that ended up just being a laundry list. Well, we do this, well, we do that, we do this. And I really like your focus on, it doesn't have to be a list of everything we do. It has to be focused and targeted and usable, because otherwise it's just unwieldy and it ends up on a shelf, right? So kudos to you for sharpening this down and making it targeted like it is. I think it's a game changer. I think it's going to help us a lot.
I'd just like to echo that. I appreciate the simplification. I think at this presentation last year was just my second meeting ever, so trying to understand all the goals, objectives, strategies, I was totally lost. I didn't know what we were trying to do, and so I think this is a much easier for someone who's a little bit outside of education to understand what are we doing, what's our goals, what's the direction we're moving. So I appreciate this.
Thank you.
And I appreciate how it all ties in together. I mean, I kind of go back to what Ricky said a moment ago about why, what, and how we have an overarching goal, but when you drill down, each campus has a unique set of needs based upon the students that make up that campus and the teachers that deliver that educational product. And so each of them having a goal that is tailored to what their needs are, but still ties into the overarching goal, that's how you really have progress. And that's one of the things that, absent that, it just becomes a nice little word that we talk about. It's a goal that we have, but people start to roll their eyes because they don't feel a connection to it. This is different. This will change things. Thank you.
I think that also each campus has their own progress monitoring, I'm assuming. They'll do their own progress monitoring and provide that data to district level, and it just kind of keeps paths from, we're all heading in the same direction. Hopefully eliminate a little bit of work in gathering all that data, because they're gathering it anyway. I mean, that is their goal, and it's their work of the year.
Yes.
So, makes total sense.
Awesome.
To me.
All right. Thank
Great.
you.
Now let's move on to item 10, business items requiring board action. Item A, 10A, is the Education Service Center 14 contract for 2025 and 26. Dr. Kuhn?
Yes, so this is something that we bring to you guys every year and ask you to approve. It is our contract with Education Service Center, Region 14 Service Center. And we partner as a school district, a lot of school districts partner with the regional service centers to help amplify what we're able to do to provide support in a lot of different areas. There are some things we don't use Region 14 for because we're a bigger school district and we can do those things for ourselves. But there are other areas where we do work in collaboration with the Service Center. I would ask you to approve this contract. You will notice that the dollar amount is, that's twice, I'm sorry. I'm out of practice. You'll notice the dollar amount is more this year than it was last year, but that is largely driven by the fact that there are flow-through dollars that we are receiving from the state as a part of the grant funding that we've received through the work we've done with System of Great Schools. So that $600,000 increase is actually not falling on us as an expenditure. The state is sending us the money that we then are sending on to Region 14 to help us with the implementation of some of that innovative work. Thank you, Joe. Sorry about that. I'm 0 for 2 on the microphone tonight.
Yes, important, in case you do get that question, it's a pass-through expense.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the money now?
It is in your board book.
Oh, but it's not on here.
Does it need to be? No, it doesn't need to be.
Okay.
Okay. double checking with our council there. Okay, is there a motion regarding the Region 14 contract for 25-26?
I move to approve the Educational Services Center Region 14 contract for 2025-26 as presented.
Thank you, Blair Schrader. Do we have a second?
Second.
Taylor Tidmore. We'll now take a roll call vote. Taylor Tidmore,
Yes.
Cindy Earls,
Yes.
Angie Wiley, yes. Rodney Goodman,
Yes.
Blair Schrader,
Yes.
Danny Wheat, absent. Bill Enriquez.
Yes.
The motion passes 6-0. Let's move on to item 10B, appointment of delegate and alternate for the TASB Delegate Assembly. So Dr. Kuhn has some information on that, or you want me to just take it?
I'm gonna let you run with it.
Okay, so what we normally have at the TASB, everybody's mostly familiar with, which for our new board members, we have a delegate assembly, which is quite informational and it's interesting. From each district sends a delegate, and that happens on Saturday of of our meeting. So, we pick a delegate and an alternate. Generally, it, tends to be new members. But Mr. Schrader said he's out of town that weekend.
Apologies, I do have other work commitments that have me out of town on official business.
You need to get branded into the action. So, do you want to take that nomination? Mr. Taylor, Dr. Taylor,
I'm scheduled to be at family weekend at
Are
Baylor that weekend.
you
with
are
my
got a
son, who will
schedule.
be a freshman.
busy schedules, I get that.
I'm
okay.
sorry.
It is in
But if-
San Antonio this year, I believe. Okay.
No, it's in Houston.
Oh, I'm wrong.
It's in Houston.
Houston?
No, nobody knows. Where is it? Houston, okay.
She knows.
Houston. Okay. Well, I don't mind. I haven't done it in a lot of years. I could be the alternate, but you've done it recently.
Yes.
I don't mind.
I'm sure I have.
I was gonna say Dr. Wheat's not here.
Yeah, Danny will go. Well, he does, yeah. Danny and I will decide who's the alternate, who's the delegate. I'll be the alternate now. Okay. If he can't do it, I will do it. So is that even a motion we need to take?
Yeah.
I guess it is.
I
Okay.
move to approve Dr. Weed as a delegate, Dr. Weed as a delegate and Angie Wiley as an alternate for the TASB Delegate Assembly, Saturday, September 13th, 2025.
We have a motion by Rodney Goodman. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Dr. Tippman. All right. We'll now take a roll call vote. Rodney Goodman.
Yes.
Blair Schrader.
Yes.
Danny Wheat. Absent. Angie Wiley. Yes. Cindy Earls.
Yes.
Bill Enriquez.
Yes.
Taylor Tippmore.
Yes.
The vote passes 6-0, and we have taken care of that business. Item 10C, we'll move on to request for a bilingual program sign-on bonus, and this can be brought to us by Patty Blue, our Associate Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. Welcome, Patty.
Hi. So I want to ask you tonight if you will give us a little help as we're trying to recruit people into our bilingual program. Currently, it would take 14 bilingual certified teachers to fully at 100% staff that program in 100% compliance. Currently, we have 4 teachers that are fully bilingual certified. We have 3 that are about halfway, and when I say halfway, like they finished the coursework, but they need to do the testing piece. And so there's actually 2 different testing pieces. Some of them have done the first one and just need to do the second. Some need to do both pieces there. At the current staffing levels, we would have to ask the state for 6 bilingual waiver exceptions and 3 ESL waivers, and ESL is English as a second language. We do have 1 vacancy in the teaching staff right now for our bilingual program. Current certification requirements. When I'm talking about compliance, right now, all we have to look at is who is delivering the reading language arts instruction to these students. So as long as we have a bilingual certified teacher that delivers the reading language arts instruction to the students, we're in compliance. But starting in 26-27, the law now requires we have to do that for reading language arts and math. TEA requires every year that we show somehow that we are being aggressive and active in trying to completely staff our program with fully bilingual certified teachers. TEA's expectations are that when they're considering year to year giving us exceptions and giving us waivers, that they're seeing a decrease in the number of waivers and exceptions that we're having to ask for. In the past, when we just turned in numbers. They have changed that, and we now have to turn in a list of teachers' names. So when we ask for a waiver, we have to tell them exactly who we're asking for that waiver and that exception or that exception for. The reason they are doing that is because TEA is tracking more and more closely who's being asked for year to year. And you notice in the next bullet, they have actually started denying waivers and exceptions, because they basically have felt like districts have not been aggressive enough in trying to find fully bilingual certified staff to be in these programs. So what does that mean to us as a district? Well, when students are not in a classroom with a fully bilingual certified teacher, we don't receive the maximum supplemental funding. But guys, bottom line is, we know the best thing for our kids is to be in a classroom with a fully bilingual certified teacher. So even though as a district it does affect us funding wise, the bottom line is we're not giving our kids everything that we can give them. So that's really who loses out on this, is we need to be aggressively trying to find ways to get those teachers. So what are we currently doing? If you teach in our bilingual program, you do receive a $6,000 stipend. And we are doing that if you are fully certified or if you are not fully certified. Part of that is to try to be an incentive, if you're not fully certified, a little extra cash flow to help you do what you need to do to meet the certification requirements. We have a standing pooled bilingual certified teacher opening on our website. Bilingual teachers can apply to Abilene ISD at any given time, and no guarantees, but if we have one come in the pool, we're going to jump on it pretty quick and see what we can do to get them in the district. That is posted on our website. We have it posted on Region 14's website, trying to enlarge the pool of people that are seeing that. And we also are using District of Innovation in this program, and we are allowing the maximum number of years, 3, for these teachers to get Texas Teacher Certified and then to go on and become bilingual certified. What we are asking is we would like to add a little bit of an incentive, because we do have some bilingual certified teachers in AISD that are not currently teaching in our bilingual program. We've asked, and they have not accepted at this point, so we'd like to sweeten the pot just a little bit and say, if you will move over and teach in our bilingual program, you get a $2,000 sign-on bonus. So they have to currently be teaching in our district, and they have to agree to move to Martinez and teach in the bilingual program, and then we'd handle that bonus just like any other stipend that we pay throughout the year. So, do y'all have any questions about what we're asking?
Right now, we're trying to fill just the RLA teachers.
That's what we have to do for 25-26 to be in compliance.
But we are eventually going to have to find double that.
Yes, ma'am. Or you're going to have a teacher doing all the reading and math instruction, and the other teacher would have to do the science, social studies, and other areas.
How many hours are above just basic certification? Bilingual.
I can't really remember the coursework part of it. I will tell you the hurdle most people are struggling to get past is the 2 tests. There's a written test, in my understanding, then there's more of a language test. And the language test, I think, is what really causes some people a little bit of trouble to get past.
But you're talking about fully certified teachers that are not wanting to teach in our program.
These are fully certified teachers that also have their bilingual certification, and they're not just willingly coming over right now. So we'd like to kind of offer this little incentive to say, hey, would you come on over? And part of this, ladies and gentlemen, is, remember I said TEA wants to see evidence that we are being active and aggressive in recruiting of these teachers. And so that's kind of what this is one more of those, guys, we're trying. We know we don't have all the teachers. We are doing everything we can come up with to try to get them there. So that's really what this is at this moment, is us offering one more little thing of, please, will you please consider to come do this?
So we obviously hope it yields a result in getting more teachers. However, if there is an audit or review by the state, this is just another tool in our toolkit to say, listen, we're doing everything we can. We can't manufacture a result, but we can manufacture the tools that we're leveraging in our district.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
The teachers who are certified but aren't actually in the bilingual program, they don't get the $6,000 stipend, do they? Didn't you say they get an extra $6,000 a year? Are those teachers getting that?
No.
No.
No. They have to be teaching in our bilingual program to get the $6,000 stipend.
So they would get a $6,000 stipend plus like a $2,000.
So they would get
signing
an
bonus the first year.
$8,000 the first year to come teach in the bilingual program.
Any more questions for Patty? Well, do we have a motion then regarding the bilingual program sign-on bonus from our board?
I move to approve adding a $2,000 bilingual program sign-on bonus as presented.
Thank you, Cindy Earls. Do we have a second?
Second.
Bill Enriquez. We'll now take a roll call vote. Taylor Tidmore,
Yes.
Bill Enriquez,
Yes.
Rodney Goodman,
Yes.
Cindy Earls,
Yes.
Angie Wiley, yes. Blair Schrader,
Yes.
Danny Wheat, absent. The motion passes 6-0. Thank you for that clarification and presentation on that, Patty, and we'll, happy to support that. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Snuck up on you, didn't it? It is 7:31. Don't have a wreck. That's kind of like saying, don't think about another thing. Bye, y'all have fun.
Be safe. Tell Mimi I said hello.
Drop Kimberly.
Patty, bilingual certified.